It's Wednesday, August 21. In the headlines, concerns raised over low pass rates in 2024 CSEC exams. In business news, Small Business Association of Jamaica concerned about JPS bill spike. Regionally, Connect Carib to unlock $4 billion e-commerce market for Caribbean producers. And in sports, young reggae boys continues their winning streak. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Concerns are mounting over student performances in the 2024 May to June CXC examinations, with only 36% of students passing mathematics and 76% passing English. Despite these figures, the overall passing rate for this year's CSEC exams is reported at 69%. More in this report from Danita Rodney.
I have no objection, and in fact, it is important for our students to be rounded. But I think it is critical and vitally necessary for us to give greater emphasis on English and mathematics and the competencies to be acquired, because these two subjects are the foundation on which anything else can be acquired or learned or achieved. So we need to give greater emphasis there.
That was Dr. Win Wesley, CEO of the Caribbean Examination Council, as he expressed concern over the performances in mathematics and English language during the official release of the 2024 May-June examination results in Dominica on Tuesday. Dr. Wesley noted that while more students register for mathematics each year, the average performance rate in the subject remains lower than in English.
When you look at the performance of English over that period, the average performance of English is about 79–80%. But the average performance of mathematics is about anywhere between 55 to about 59%. In fact, if we really strictly apply the entire cohort, you're actually about 44%. This year, the performance in mathematics is a bit lower than last year.
Dr. Wesley warns that low pass rates in math and English could have a detrimental impact on the Caribbean region's economy.
If you don't have maths and English, employers are going to pay you less. You have students who will require rework. In other words, you have to go and do the program over. You will have students who will not realize their full potential. And most importantly, it is having a negative effect on the economic competitiveness of the region, because you're having less students being able to drive the innovation that is required for the economy to advance and for critical thinking and problem-solving attitudes to be developed.
In a bid to enhance students' performance in math and English, the CXC CEO announced that the council will develop literacy and numeracy standards for these subjects. Following this, targeted programs will be launched to address and correct identified weaknesses.
To that end, the Caribbean Examinations Council has already commissioned a team to begin to develop standards for literacy and numeracy. And those standards will be used with the incorporation of artificial intelligence for us to be able to design targeted intervention for the areas and opportunities for development for these candidates. And how is it that they are going to acquire the skill? This particular program will be complementary with what is happening in the education system.
For the news on PBCJ, I am Danita Rodney.
There's a call for the review of aspects of the primary exit profile examinations, PEP. Newly installed President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, Dr. Mark Smith, made the call while delivering the presidential address during the investiture ceremony at the 60th annual JTA conference recently.
Minister, I believe you and your team will take counsel and you will revisit and examine that while we embrace the idea and the concept behind the PEP of promoting greater level of creativity, divergent thinking, and critical thinking, we believe some of the challenges lie in the age appropriateness and complexity of some of the tasks the children are asked to do.
PEP replaced the Grade 6 Achievement Test, GSAT, as the National Secondary School Placement Test in the 2018-2019 academic year. Mr. Smith is arguing that some aspects of the examination are not age-appropriate and very complex. He urged the Minister of Education and Youth to revise the writing of the exam.
I am therefore suggesting that we reanalyze how we write these examinations, that we look at the assessment matrix, and that we take the opportunity to do the level of evaluation and review necessary to ensure, not throw everything out, but ensure that it is better aligned to empower and achieve its goals rather than becoming a burden to our children.
Jamaica Public Service Company JPS customers facing higher than usual electricity bills could receive some relief. The Light and Power Company is reportedly working on a scheme which could see its customers paying less than they have been billed for in August. The news follows a meeting on Tuesday between ministers of government and JPS representatives. The matter came up during a press brief at Jamaica House on Wednesday. Despite reports of a possible payment scheme, Energy Minister Darrell Vaz is not impressed. He was armed with data questioning the increase in electricity bills for August following the passage of Hurricane Beryl. The hurricane caused power outages lasting over a month for thousands of Jamaicans. Minister Vaz says a letter was sent to the Finance Ministry and other stakeholders regarding the plans for the JPS's LNG and ADO plants ahead of the passage of Hurricane Beryl.
The Ministry, the OUR, the Permanent Secretary and the Minister was not aware of the letter that was sent. It was neither copied to us, it was a straight letter to the Ministry of Finance, which I do find in itself odd.
He says the information received states that the plants were to be decommissioned before the hurricane. He furthers that the FSRU, Floating, Storage and Regasification Unit, was recommissioned on July 6.
Using this information, this means that the South Jamaica Power Company would have had access to LNG as of this July 6, 2024. The same for the NFE Jamaica Power Plant, which JPS stated in a letter was unable to switch to ADO and therefore was unable to supply energy until the FSRU was back in operation. The July 1st letter also stated that the JPS Bogue Power Plant in Montego Bay had 5 days of stored LNG at the plant and would need to switch to ADO upon exhausting the stored fuel.
The minister says this raises several questions to which JPS and the Office of Utilities Regulation must provide answers.
Please note that despite the FSRU being out of commission for 5 days, and the JPS was granted a 91% reduction on special consumption tax for fuel for the entire month of July as it relates to ADO. The government is therefore interested in knowing how much ADO was used over the period for which the FRSU was relocated. Our in-house calculations have revealed that there are discrepancies with the calculations being represented in the several JPS bills.
He explains that the worst-case scenario would have seen a 6% increase in bills, but this month's bills were above that number.
The increase in the fuel rate on electricity bills for August 24 is $7.83 per kilowatt hour. The fuel rate increased by 32% between July and August, up from an average increase of 4% between April and July. Again, bearing in mind that JPS did not have access to LNG for 5 days of the current billing cycle. To quote the July 1st letter again, JPS indicated that they would have to switch to more expensive ADO fuel with LNG, which was made available again. One plant had 5 days storage of LNG, one plant could not use ADO, and another plant had to switch to ADO until LNG was available again. LNG was made available from July 6, as I said before, at 9 p.m. For this reason, I reject the assertion given by JPS that the cost of ADO fuel is the reason for the increased bills being sent to Jamaicans.
He says he's urging JPS to recalculate and get their figures right. In this week's Living Healthy report, polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS, is a hormonal disorder that can affect both your reproductive system and appearance, while also increasing the risk of obesity, heart disease, and diabetes. Trinidad and Tobago's Lorraine Williams, a PCOS activist and founder of Green Market Farms Limited, gave advice on the management of PCOS.
According to the World Health Organization, PCOS affects an estimated 8 to 13% of reproductive-aged women. Symptoms of polycystic ovary syndrome can differ from person to person, and symptoms may change over time.
Missed periods, painful periods, acne, even in the adult years, we're not talking about the children yet, but even in the adult years, you have a lot of acne, you have painful missed periods, you have beard, you have, yes, facial hair, it's called hirsutism, right? And you might see someone just gain a lot of weight just like that, not from pregnancy, right? But you just gain a lot of weight and they exercise and all how and they're not able to lose the weight.
PCOS is connected to a range of long-term health problems that affect both physical and emotional well-being. A diet which is high in refined sugars can trigger symptoms.
If you lead a sedentary life, meaning that you're not exercising, and your diet definitely, if your diet is more high glycemic, meaning things like sugar, flour, well, white flour, white rice and stuff, and stress, if you have a lot of stress in your life, because that actually, sends up your cortisol level, which is another hormone.
PCOS is a chronic condition and cannot be cured.
So PCOS is like diabetes of the ovaries. On a spectrum, it is like a lower intensity of diabetes, right? But if left unchecked, it will turn into type 2 diabetes.
Eating a healthy diet, staying active, and getting enough sleep can help reduce symptoms and manage the effects of PCOS.
Provision, the best one for PCOS is like sweet potatoes. Things like avocados, the olive oils, the brown rice, right? And a lot of protein, right? Reduce your sugar intake, right? Of course, exercise a lot more. Eat a balanced diet, right? Meaning you have more veggies on your plate and proteins, and you have some healthy fats. The fat is not the vegetable oil that we normally use to fry the chicken, right? And you have things like avocado, olive oils, the flax seeds, a lot of the nuts and seeds, those are the healthy fats.
The psychological effects of PCOS, especially those related to body image and infertility, can contribute to mental health challenges, such as depression and anxiety. Therefore, counseling is also recommended as a way to cope. September is PCOS Awareness Month. I'm Karen Kozier-Phillip with your TTT News Health Check.
Time now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, your guide through the latest happenings in the world of business. The executive arm of the Small Business Association of Jamaica, BAJ condemns the Jamaica Public Service Company's decision to increase by more than 30% the charges to consumers and business owners. Garnet Reed, newly elected president of the Small Business Association of Jamaica, has expressed his frustration regarding the current billing and its financial disaster on the small business sector. Reed has expressed his discontent as follows. I am outraged that JPSCO has established a US $50 million cash trove in self-insurance disaster recovery fund at its disposal. Yet JPSCO has appeared to transfer the unsuspecting Jamaican public the cost of the recently passed Hurricane Beryl. We are demanding an explanation and an immediate rollback of the charges that are clearly unfounded. Further, the time has come when the government should give a new license to a different public service company to provide competition in the industry. Burita Investments Limited has advised that its board of directors declared a dividend of $1.96 per share payable on October 31, 2024 to shareholders on record as at October 17, 2024. The ex-dividend date is October 17, 2024. During trading for the period of August 20, 2024, the following companies represent the top 3 most active stocks that investors bought and sold on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Edufocal with 3,028,461 units represent 23.11% of the total market volume in terms of sales. Toll road operator Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with 2,163,098 units represent 16.51% of the total market volume in terms of sales. Alternative energy provider Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with 1,239,921 units represent 9.46% of the total market volume in terms of sales. Moving from the money moves of investors, executives, and companies on the stock market, we turn to the Forex market. On August 20, 2024, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $52.01 million was bought from Forex traders, while US $57.68 million was sold to Forex traders. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US dollar for $158.44 and bought the US dollar for $156.55. The difference between the buy and sell rate was $1.89, which represents a profit for Forex traders for every US dollar traded. Canadian Forex traders earned a trading profit of 34 cents from transactions with the Bank of Jamaica. The Canadian dollar was sold for $116.24 and bought for $115.90. For traders looking at the British pound, they pocketed a profit of $2.84, selling it for $203.58 and buying it for $200.74. For today's credit report tip of the day, we continue to look at the strategy of bundling your auto loans and your mortgage so that if you're shopping for a house and shopping for a car, it can be a smart financial strategy. And it may offer you lower interest rates, simplified payments, and depending on the financial institution, exclusive perks. Your credit score is crucial in determining the success and advantages of doing a bundle. So having a high credit score can significantly increase your chances of approval. Lenders are more inclined to approve loans for individuals with proven creditworthiness, making the bundling process smoother. And with that, we wrap up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams. Appreciate your company. Stay well informed, stay ahead of the curve. Until our next update, take care.
In regional news, Connect Carib aims to help Barbados and Caribbean producers access $4 billion market from the online purchases outside the region. Dr. Andre Thomas, President and CEO of Pleon Group and Connect Carib Ambassador, outlined the vision for their e-commerce platform on CBC TV8, describing it as a game changer for the region with the potential to enhance wealth distribution.
Now, if you look at the figures, the e-commerce figures for the Caribbean are that last year, the Caribbean spent $3.5 billion on e-commerce. That's buying from Amazon, Shein, Alibaba, eBay. This year is projected to be $4 billion. Now, we can capture part of that market. That's $4 billion leaving the region. Now, some of those goods can be made within the region, can be traded within the region. We're going to give entrepreneurs the opportunity to do that. You can have a woman who makes the most amazing jam, but she does not have the financial capital to start a store. But if her jam is exceptional, she can put it on our platform and 10 million people have access to it. And she can trade at a level that is unprecedented. Never had that opportunity. That's what our service is going to create.
In Trinidad and Tobago, the College of Science, Technology and Applied Arts, COSTAT, and the Regency Recruitment and Resources Limited have signed a Memorandum of Understanding to help formerly incarcerated individuals secure employment after completing their studies. The partnership extends COSAT's Link Up program, which aims to reduce recidivism by providing pathways from prison to college or entrepreneurship. The initiative is seen as a game changer for the region, with potential to improve wealth distribution.
The Link Up program by COSTAT has successfully guided ex-convicts through a comprehensive 3-month curriculum preparing them for reintegration into society. Chairman of Regency Recruitment and Resources Limited, Lara Quentrell Thomas, said there are many theories about how employment can reduce reoffending.
It may increase ties to society, provide networks and social controls that discourage reoffending. It can also provide avenues for developing identities that are incompatible with criminal activity. Employment, of course, can provide financial security. And if the work is meaningful and quality work, it can improve self-esteem and self-worth.
Through this partnership, Regency will provide essential services including resume writing, interview preparation, and recruitment assessments. The company added that interested firms have pledged their support by offering on-the-job training to further develop the skills of these individuals. President of COSTAT, Dr. Keith Nurse, said the signing of the MOU aligns with the institution's mission of providing accessible and quality education and training to empower individuals to achieve their full potential.
We've always argued and promoted upskilling as not just training, that it is training linked to an incubator process and also linked to an acceleration process and now to an employment framework. This really helps to square the circle and ensure that we are able to deliver to the formerly incarcerated and to others who would participate in our upskilling academies that doing this type of training is not a dead end.
It is hoped that the partnership will be a step forward in addressing the challenges faced by formerly incarcerated individuals. Mahalia Joseph Wharton, TTT News.
The Belize Police Department is taking steps towards inclusivity and accessibility by training officers in sign language. For 1 week, 30 officers from across Belize City will engage in valuable lessons so they can better communicate with deaf or hard of hearing victims and community members. News 5's Brittany Gordon stopped by the Queen Street Police Station to see how the officers were doing on day 2 of the classes. Here's that story.
It's R Rashid. Upon meeting someone, a name is usually the first thing you learn about them. Sharing your name can be the beginning of a friendship, a relationship, and the beginning of trust. But for many people that are deaf or mute, they are unable to take that first step to establishing that connection with police officers because they are expressing it in a language officers do not speak. That disconnect is changing now that members of the Belize Police Department are learning how to speak sign language. ACP Howell Gillett, National Commander of the Community Policing Unit, spoke with us about the importance of making this effort.
We have the community policing officers, and we also have the officers from the family unit. Those are the ones who take complaints of a sexual nature from victims. So it's important for them to be able to speak with these people who are have hearing impairment, who are mute. So if we are to truly be policing the entire population, we have to include those with special needs.
Whether someone is hurt or in fear is vital information for police officers to know. But the communication barrier between hearing officers and deaf or mute victims is difficult to overcome without an interpreter. This is especially challenging with small children who cannot write yet. With assistance from the Selamari School, officers are working to overcome this barrier. Sign instructor Erlet Thomas says that this is a challenge that has always existed for the community.
With the Ministry of Education for the past 30-odd years, and one of the things that we would, sometimes we would get children or past students, youths who have been to the police station for a while, and because of the inability to communicate with them, they end up being there for a long while, and sometimes it's something simple that could have been solved just by communicating with them. So I think it's extremely important that the police officers learn how to communicate with people who are deaf, and also to identify when they are deaf so that they can, use whatever they need to use to get a message across to them.
After completing the initial phase of the training, officers will return in a few weeks for more advanced lessons.
We're trying to work with words that will suit the police department. So we're doing basic now. They're learning the alphabet and numbers because it's extremely important for you to learn your alphabet. If you can't sign something, you can spell it out, and the deaf person will understand what you're saying, versus you just stand there and you do nothing. So you spell out the word, and then you can continue. Even if I am talking to someone who is deaf and I don't know the sign for the word, I can spell the word, or I'll tell them, sign that word for me, and they will sign the word for me, and we will continue with the conversation.
The officers have been receptive to the training, and the police sergeant in the Family Violence Unit is proud of the progress that she has made so far. She says that everything learned will be used to make her better at her job. What's one thing that you've learned that stood out to you so far that you feel you'll be taking back into your job?
Everything. We're starting from scratch, and some of us were completely clueless, and so definitely everything.
Brittany Gordon for News 5.
In sports, Jamaica's under-14 team continued their rampage on the 2024 CFU Tier 1 Group A Under-14 Challenge Series after beating Aruba 5-0 in their semi-final football game played at Dwight York Stadium on Tuesday. Corlando Morris scored Jamaica's first 2 goals as the young Reggae Boys extended their winning run to 4 games and are yet to concede a goal. And that's it for the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thank you so much for watching.